Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Podcast. This is the back of the bus session.
Hello, this is the Old Farm Bus Back of the Bus Session podcast, and I've got the most amazing guest with you today. I've got the wonderful Nick McCann. Nick, how you doing, brother?
Oh, thank
Should we
you,
high
man.
five to
I'm
start?
I'm very well. Is it safe to do that? Or?
Oh no, we should
I don't know. We should have an ET
elbowed.
moment next time, like, you know.
Nick, honestly, man, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I've had you on here before.
Yes. That was a good
And
time. It didn't look that nice in here last time. You know. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
I'm joking. It was
that's
lovely.
why I ruined the footage, to be honest. I was like, oh, it looks rubbish in here. I'm going to redo that. I'll just tell him it's all broke. No, you know, I was really excited. I've bought these buses, doing other bits, doing gigs and things like that. And I was like, right, start a podcast. I did not know what I was doing.
Yeah,
I'm going to be
fine,
honest.
man, it's fine.
And then Nick McCann, I got back, I looked at the footage, and I just put us both in slow-mo. Now, there's probably some genius out there listening to this now that's like, yeah, but you could have saved all that. But
yeah, but where were they at the time?
Yeah,
come on, where were you,
not
man?
here. And I'll be honest, mate, I just had a little strop, a tantrum, and I was just like, I'm going to have to delete it and tell him on a later date. So
It's okay. Well, thank you for having me back. I do appreciate
mate,
it.
I'm
It's
so
very
happy
kind
you're
of
back. Thank you for allowing my stupidity. Now, Nick, I've just got so much love, so much respect for you. Honestly, brother, you're a teacher, you're a philosopher, you're
you.
a performer. You've done some poetry in your time. You're a wizard on guitar. All these amazing things, and I just love you. So, thank you for being here.
Oh,
Do you
man.
have a favourite out of all that? Do you have anything you really want to give more time to than others, or?
I'd like to try and spread it out equally, if possible. But yeah, I don't know. Just
Give the audience like a list of the things and projects that you've got on at the minute.
What have I got on at the minute? Okay, so band-wise, there's probably There's 3 active bands. Hopefully 4 soon. So I've got a rock covers band that's out there pretty much all the time. Shout out to No Danger. Bruce Springsteen tribute. So shout out to Bruce Springsteen and the DE Street Band. And then a shout out to Addictive Philosophy, which is the newest one I've been kind of session working with. And
Nick,
they're like
you've not told me about this, mate.
Oh, they're amazing. They really are. If you want to check them out, we're actually playing with Unknown Era on the 24th of April in Nottingham. So,
oh, mate, I love that you've saved it to the podcast to tell me this. Because I've just had a big come up there, and that was exciting. My head just went, woof, I'm going to be there.
But yeah, it's going to be pretty amazing, man. Really cool. So they're like anarcho, ska, punk craziness.
Wow, who can ask? I mean, the members might.
So it's Gez Addictive. So Sophie's
wow,
Gez. It's
okay.
his band that he's been running for years. They're getting it back up and running again. He's asked me to be one of the members. So
wow, man.
Very nice.
This is so
Very
exciting.
Nice.
Amazing times. So you've got all this,
Yep.
and then you're in schools.
Yes.
How's that going?
School's going really well. 4 schools at the minute, all primary school levels, which is great. I love working with kids. They're amazing to teach. And it's nice to I kind of not push the music on them, but give them a bit more music before they go to secondary school. Because my hope is, one day some of these kids are going to continue, maybe not necessarily doing what I'm doing, but maybe like they've got the guitar in their life forever, and they've got that little bit of creative outlet at any time they want or something. So
did you have like an amazing mentor when you were at school then? Because is that what like pushed you on to want to do what you're doing? Or?
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't really start playing until I was 11, 12.
Wow, okay,
So,
that's quite late on, really.
It is realistically compared to like the ages I'm teaching, because some of them are as young as like 6 years old.
I mean, my dad started at 50, so you know,
50,
you
yeah,
can
it's never
start at
too
any
late,
point,
man. It's
but-
never too late.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 11, 12, my parents got me my first electric guitar. I was like, I want to do this, and had lessons with my dad for the first couple of years, which even he'll admit it had its pros and it had its cons. Like, I love him to pieces, but and he's a really good teacher for other people. But that whole family vibe kind of gets in the way.
It's really hard, isn't it? It's
yeah.
like because you don't want to admit your family know more than you about something sometimes as well. So you're sort of like, I know what I'm doing, Dad. Give me that.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, I owe him everything. I wouldn't be doing what I do now without him, because not only did he teach me, he supported me when I was in school in all my first bands. Like there was, I don't know, better part of 10 years maybe. He was driving my bands around, supplying the equipment, doing the sound, helping run the gigs and everything. Even now he'll come to as many gigs as he can and support me. And it's
I
just,
do
it's a
notice
lot of
that
love
when I
for
go
them.
round to yours, and I've been around many a time to do some
Yeah.
music and things, but just the lovely atmosphere and the vibe that you two have together is so strong. And would he always doing guitars and music and things like that, or?
Yeah, he was doing it. He was going out around pubs and stuff when he was younger in Scotland and everything. And then it's only really been kind of the last few years he's not done as much. So, but every now and
Okay.
again we get a cheeky little jam in at an
I
open
love
mic,
it when
and
you
it's just
start
like,
playing like with
yeah.
each other on a. I've been to the Hollybush and I've seen you both
Yeah,
like,
man.
jamming down there, and it's been amazing. Yeah, it's such a nice vibe. I went filming the other day, and this guy Tom Grant, for one of his sessions, he was releasing a single,
Nice.
and at the very end, he got his dad up. And
No
they
way.
sang Angels, Robbie Williams together.
Oh.
And I'm filming this thing, and I'm starting to, like, tears are coming down my face. And I'm just like, they're hugging. He's just like saying, "Oh, I'm so proud of you." And then he's saying, "Dad, I couldn't do this without you." And all the bond there was just so strong. And
Yeah, man.
I see that in when you play. I see that dads are just cool, aren't
They
they?
are, man.
Sometimes
They really are.
inspire
I'd
you.
love like watching you and your dad interact. Like your dad is one of the coolest people,
He is,
and everyone who knows you
a
knows
bearable
if
fool.
he's. I imagine you're very much like each other at times, but yeah.
Definitely.
good.
And again, that can have its pros and cons, like we all
Yeah.
say. So, Nick, when you're doing all these, like you've got all your gigs you're doing, you've got your schools, you've got your kids, you've got your whole family.
Yeah.
How are you juggling, man? Like, I know I don't get to see you much anymore, and I just love it because I just love it because I hate you.
Yeah, I love it.
No,
I don't see you anymore. Like, what the?
I just know you're doing your thing. I see you from afar, social media, see you and all these things, and I'm like, yeah, he's doing good. He's doing what he wanted to do, something you set out. But I do wonder how on earth do you do it all?
How on earth am I doing it? Well, I'll be honest, mate. I would like to know that as well. So I'm not even joking. It is a challenge. Sometimes it feels a lot harder than it is, but most of that comes from just insane sleep deprivation sometimes. And I've got it nowhere near as bad as Molly's got it, you know, because I do get a little bit more sleep than her, but it is crazy at times. But there's a way to do it, and I find out a way to do it. You just got to take every day as it comes, and at the end of the day, those three now come first before everything. So like, if something's going on at home that needs to be dealt with, then I do have to put everything else on hold.
Wow, okay.
With the first few months, the last few months of last year, I was very strict on the amount of work I was taking in, very strict on my gigs and everything like that. So I was just like, I need to be there for them, obviously.
Of course,
And
yeah.
now it's at the point where it's just starting to level out. Pretty nice. It's just starting to level out. There's so much more to come in every aspect of my life, but it's just starting to get to a point where I'm coping with it, and things are getting a little bit easier.
Because again, they always say, like, there's no perfect time to have a child, start a family, do all these things. I suppose it is just a learning process as you get into it, and then you have all these built up ideas before of, I'll never be able to do my projects again, I'll never be able to gig, I'll never be able to do any of these things. But I suppose, as maybe you've learnt now, you've just done it on the spot, in the moment. You've worked it all out.
I think it's
balanced
kind
that.
of one realization that I had was, if I'd not gone self-employed before the kids came along, then I wouldn't be doing it. Like, if I was trying to work a normal job, you know, even if it was my last care assistant job, I was maybe doing 7 days, 8 days a month, spread out over the month. But even then, I know full well I wouldn't be doing guitar, because I'd just be, you go out, you do your normal job. Most people are doing like 9 to 5 on a Monday, and I've got so much respect for those mums and dads who can do it. But then they're coming home in the evening, then having the kids, and then they're just going to sleep, getting up, going to work. And it's like, I can see why people don't have their time. So thankfully, I've managed to stay self-employed. I'm going to keep staying self-employed for as long as possible. And I do find every now and again I get a little moment. Like the other day, I had a little moment where I had kind of 2 hours to myself, where the kids were asleep, and
that must be
Molly
the
was
most
doing a thing,
exciting
and I was like,
time.
I got the
It's like,
guitar.
what do I do?
Yeah, and it was literally, I got the guitar, and I actually started creating something, and I was like, that's nice. That's really nice to get that out there.
I mean,
So.
Nick, we're on the back of the bus sessions, Old Farm Bus podcast. Could we hear a little exclusive of that thing? Or if not an exclusive of that, maybe a little something you've got. Because I mean, if you're listening to this and you're not watching, Nick's brought his guitar in, so I was very excited when that came out the bag.
You're always excited when I get it out the bag.
Yeah. Well, PG, Nick, PG. Now, Jake.
No, that's what. Don't change my words.
Okay, yeah. So if
yeah, I'll
you
give
could
you
hear
a quick little
something.
a spin of it, trying to figure out. I usually have a loop pedal for it, so this will be interesting.
Wow.
And then I can't
Nick,
really do any
you've
more
got-
because I need like tons of layers and stuff.
Honestly, man, out
yeah.
of all these things that we say you're up to and you're doing, I've really missed seeing you, and I've really missed that.
Bless you, man. Thank you very much.
I'm going to employ you one day to just do me lullabies to bed.
That's fine. That's fine. I can do that.
The stress
That's okay.
of the world that is at the minute, and the coronavirus, and all these things going on. I'm just, Nick, I can't sleep. Get over here. So, you know, you brought out last year, or was it the start of this year? Sorry if I've got this wrong, but you brought out a mixtape, an album.
Oh,
brought out
back
your
in
album.
October
Yes.
last year, that was. Yeah.
Amazing. How did that do? And is there number 2 on its way?
How did it do? It did as well as I predicted, in a sense of the people that I know would listen to it have listened to it. However, I did actually go out and put it on Spotify and everything. It's had quite a few plays, which I'm
Oh,
quite
mate, I've
impressed
been
with.
listening to
So,
it. Yeah,
well, cheers. It's mostly you then,
They're all-
obviously.
yeah,
but,
it's
you know,
fine.
but yeah, it's been really nice. I had a good reception. So I did the release gig at one of the Thrive events. So shout out to Simon Jones.
Yes, bless
for
man.
letting me do the EP launch there. And I did like a 20-minute spot where I kind of just blended 2 of the tracks into one big performance. And then I managed to sell a couple of CDs that day. And just people were dead appreciative. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. You know?
Where did it come from? I knew it was a real time in your life where so many changes were happening. I bet the music just come from nowhere.
It was
essentially.
literally kind of like that. I started doing the bass loops for most of the tracks, and I was like, well, I wanted to get it done before August, because I knew come August, you know, everything's going to change. I need to focus on, you know, the 2 kids now rather than just the one. So it was like I need to get it finished, or at least to a point where it was recorded and, you know, ready to just be worked on a little bit and then put out. But the music, I don't know, I think I bashed out most of them songs over the course of maybe 2 days in total.
Wow.
I just had them down, and they just, like you say, they did just come out of nowhere. They just kind of flowed out of me, and I either thought about, like, you know, the family or where I was in my life, or the music came first, and then it made me think of what it was going to be about, which inspired all the titles and stuff. And it was just really therapeutic to get it out there. And I was like,
I mean, if people haven't listened to your music yet on Spotify, Nick McCann.
Nick McCann on
please
Spotify,
do, because
yes.
it takes you on a genuine journey, and it's something, you know, as a lyricist, I take people so far, or this is what's going on in my head. But to me, there is something other that instrumental does to you. They create their own story up, or people listening just get this extra feeling because they can make it all for themselves. Is that something you get when you listen to other people's instrumentals, or you do it for yourself?
Yeah.
I love that process, man. Just watching you on a stage and you're gone. It must be. I've never really experienced that, and that seems like a really exciting feeling.
It is. It's like it's almost like being in a bubble. Like I kind of, maybe in a selfish way, I kind of like get up on stage and I do it, and I get so locked into myself and what I'm doing that it's kind of like sometimes I forget the performance aspect of it, and because I just love playing guitar. At the end of the day,
That's what makes it better.
Yeah, everybody says it's really cool. Like the most common thing I hear is people say, "Oh, you get lost in your music," and that's amazing to see. I'm like, that's really nice that people appreciate that. I think sometimes I might just be a bit self-indulgent about milking it a little bit. But yeah, the instrumental side of things has always fascinated me. Not just like standard instrumental guitar stuff, like classical music is just amazing, because we had so many years, like countless years of classical composers, where classical music was the thing. You know, people, the rich would go out and watch classical concerts, and you know, there was no lyrics. You know, not really before the opera came along.
Yeah.
So, whereas now everything is about the lyrics, and if you tell people you're instrumental, they're a bit like, oh, where's the words? And it's like, well, you don't need the words. You don't need the words for the music. That's the point. So,
Yeah. Some people do need to be fed things, don't they?
Yeah.
And
which I understand. I do understand that.
Yeah.
But
and again, it's all down to preference, and it's all subjective on what people's tastes are and what they're into. As doing spoken word and poetry, getting on a stage, and you can either get an audience that are like beautiful silence, and you're just talking to them, and that feeling there of being listened to and understood, that's quite powerful. But you know, going to other gigs and people talking, it doesn't take much to disrupt it and make it quite tricky. And you know, talking over talking is just like one of the most confusing, not pleasant for the ears experiences you can go for. Whereas either you get you on a stage and you can have, again, people just listen electrically and there's this vibe created, or you know, people are still talking but you're just creating a nice atmosphere to be in as well. You're in a win-win in my eyes when I watch it, because even when people are chatting, you can't lose with that, because it's in a nice environment. People are just having either their own conversations or talking about how good you are, but it just seems like a great thing to be in. So that's why I look at guitar and I'm like, I think I need one of those to really get into it one day. And like you say, you're never too old, never too old to start.
Never too old. It's never too late in life. And at the end of the day, just practice.
Yeah.
So that's all it takes.
Is there anything at the minute in your life where you think I could give that a go? I could pick that up, because you know what it takes to learn something. So
yeah. So I'm really excited to try and work on my vocals at some point.
Okay, I've heard your vocals, man. They're decent.
Well, thank you, man. I'm still
it
not
was
100%
with your dad you
with
were
him.
performing.
Yes, yeah, it would have been. So I've got that kind of traditional Sex Pistols song locked down, which is pretty nice. But I had a little jamming session, mini singing lesson with Molly, and we figured out, like, if I work on it, I've got something like a 3-octave range on my vocals.
Amazing.
And she says, obviously, if I practice, if I actually put the effort in, you know, I could sing. So I guess that's really the next phase, because typically, I've done instrumentals for so long, I'm kind of now feeling I want to do a little bit more singing and stuff, a little bit more vocal work, just to give me something.
New
and again,
range,
if I
new
can,
skill.
yeah, and if I can come up with like a vocal melody that I can then sort of mimic on the guitar type thing, that'd be pretty cool.
You know, it's quite interesting when musicians and singers adopt it's kind of contrived, but adopt like a voice. You know what I mean? Like you've got Paolo Nutini who sings down here. Yeah, Brucey picked up like people adopt this voice. Do you have one when you sing, or do you just? Would you say you're Nick when you sing? Does that make sense?
I kind of say I'm Nick, but that's because I don't sing a lot, so I don't really know what I'm doing. Traditionally, every now and again, you know, I'll adopt that American accent while I'm singing.
Of course, yeah.
Like,
we
trying
did
to
a
do
band
some bars
together,
and stuff, like, you know, that all comes
Yeah.
out. But yeah, it's really hard, and obviously it's hard for anybody when you're trying to learn to sing to find your voice, because all you know is what you hear, so you're trying to imitate it. And then for me, I'm like, the guitar's been my voice for so long.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of nerves.
I'm
obviously.
so excited to hear it when it does come out.
Well,
Do you think you'll do like an EP?
I don't know about that. I think it was more a case of, after doing open mics for so long, I feel that every now and again, if I'm doing a little open mic set, just chuck in the odd cover song or something. Or, you know, if I'm doing one of my own sets, like try and do like a loop pedal cover of something like that. Creative wise, I ain't going to say no, but I'm not going to say yes either. So we'll see. I've got to learn how to sing first. You know, I've got
mate,
to actually try.
I feel something brewing anyway, which is quite exciting.
Hopefully, maybe there'll be a collaboration. I don't know. You know.
Feel like I'm forcing some stuff out here. So, have you got anything else in the pipeline for just Nick's solo project, or is it all the band stuff at the minute?
It's mostly the band stuff. I've had two creative sessions this year. I've got one track that is kind of roughly demoed type thing. I've got the skeleton design of it, like start to finish. I know what's going where, it just needs working on. And then I've got the new thing that I'm working on at the minute. I'm not I'm not rushing it.
Yeah.
I've done the EP. I want the next thing that I do to be bigger. Like, I just want it to be bigger. I want it to be different. I want it to be a full band on the album, basically. So I'm like working on Logic and working on my bass playing and stuff, and like trying to get stuff laid down for that part.
Are you still doing the filming as well? I've seen you've been doing that a bit and working with David.
I am. I'm falling a little bit behind on my editing sometimes.
You are allowed to.
So,
mate. Honestly, don't take
the
this
editing
lightly when
side
I
of
say
it.
you're doing a lot of things.
But yeah, there's a lot of filming going on. I'm still doing Talbot Acoustic Nights, so last Wednesday of every month at the Talbot in Ripley. That's still happening.
Excellent.
We film the acts on there and then putting the videos on the YouTube channel and stuff. And Idiovid, shout out to them. Jamie, absolutely amazing. Lends me all the gear that I want. Is letting me try stuff. He's teaching me little bits here and there. So yeah, try to just do that little bit of everything. So
I love it, man. I think that's great.
Going.
That's a real nice ethos and attitude, though. You know, people, for me anyway, if I just go, I'm a poet, and label myself that and sit at just being a poet, then it gives me a lot of pressure to keep creating poems and keep writing. And when you've got all that pressure mounting up, sometimes your writing again becomes quite contrived. You don't write your best stuff. I panic. I'm like, I need to be a poet. But then if you start adding in these plates, I think I spoke about this on a last podcast a little bit, it takes the pressure away from other aspects of that life. And, you know, do a bit of filming now, started to do the buses, things like that. And it's taken the pressure away of that one thing, and that energy expenditure goes into trying new skills and trying new things and meeting people and living life. And then when I go back to poetry, I'm sort of like, oh, I've got stories again to tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
It's
living
trying to
life
find
a little
something
bit.
to, drive it from, aren't you?
And even when it's not the creative side and stuff, like you've got your family and things at the minute, having them times away and spending that makes you thirsty for going back to doing what you love.
Yeah.
So you see, like, seeing you from afar at the minute seems like you really are learning that balancing act and doing that well. Would you say so yourself?
I'm definitely learning.
Yeah, it's
I'll
all
say I'm
learning.
learning. Yeah.
Amazing.
Doing it well.
Yeah.
It's nothing's going wrong.
That's
thankfully.
I
I'm really
I think
touch wood.
Reiterate these points just because I want to learn myself so much. I'm just like, he's doing it. I know there's a secret out there.
There is. Just got to do it, man. You just got to do it. If anything, I've learned from you recently, like watching all your filming and stuff. You've just gone from, yeah, guys, I'm going to get this camera. I'm going to do some little shots to
Oh, thank you.
You know
man.
your editing software. You put together these amazing shots.
Well, it's another one of them, like, getting lost in it moments.
Yeah.
You know when something's for you. You know when that's what you need to be doing, regardless of what people say, what anybody puts forward to you. It's like, no, this is my thing, because I've got the belief in this. I suppose there was one day recently where Chrissy's gone to school work, and got up with her, and that's early, way too early. And I just go and start doing these edits, and then suddenly, like, she's home, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Where does the day go?
That means it should be like 4 or 5 o'clock, and I'm like, I've not left this spot. But genuinely, there was no concept of time in there. It just felt like I could have done another few hours, but I was like, okay, I need to go to the gym now or something. I feel so guilty.
Yeah, I need to eat. I need to look after myself.
So thank you for that, man. I just genuinely love doing it at the minute. It's
I can tell, man. I can tell.
Seeing people come back to you with like really kind response after you've done a film for them, it's one of the most rewarding feelings.
Yeah.
So your schools, how long have you been doing school? Are you with 4 schools now?
4 different primary schools.
How does it work, all of it?
How does it work? Well, so 20-minute sessions per student. I do Monday afternoons, I do all day Thursday, I do Friday morning and Friday afternoon. It's a really cool little setup. I started kind of just teaching little bits and bobs when I first went into schools, because I was still finding my feet, figuring out what kids are capable of, finding out which kids want to practice and which kids want to just come and mess about. So,
yeah.
And this past year, I've started working on my own little kids rock guitar course, which I'm looking at releasing hopefully by the end of this year, which is a little kind of 8-bar exercise each week. And it starts off, you go through the individual strings, and then we need to kind of do chords after that, and there's a little bit of lead guitar stuff and just little bits of technique. But what I do is it's like a 20-minute lesson, and you have the exercise, which roughly takes about 5 to 10 minutes to teach and explain, and that gives 10 minutes to sort of work on it and stuff. And then I send them home with that, obviously the piece of paper so they don't forget it.
Yeah.
But I also do a video lesson to accompany it. So they've got a little video of me demonstrating it again, which if they then use it in between the lessons, speeds up their process, basically. And, because of the way technology is moving forward now, kids are much more receptive to videos at the end of the day. So, and it's also, it would mean that I could then release it and not have to actually physically go to work, if that makes sense. I mean, could release the course working, online.
But
yeah. But then I've got something that works for me, and so I can do like package deals on it and everything.
I really do believe this is the way education is turning and spinning. There might still need to be places to go, but just because there's so much access to information, to learning research. I mean, I'm on YouTube tutorials every day.
Yeah, and there's just thousands of them on anything you could want.
Everything you could ever need. So we're at strange times at the minute. We've learnt for so long. You go to this place and you sit down all together, learning a certain way, however that teacher chooses you to learn, and this is how we do it. But I think it's going in the right way, because you've got 30 students in that class that all learn completely differently, and to be able to go online and access that way of learning that suits them the best is just like, it's going to suit everyone so much more. But then that makes the field that we're in difficult at the minute as well, because there's a good and a bad. We can use that to our advantage, but then everybody's doing it, finding the right stuff for you, things like that. So I suppose one thing that why AI isn't going to take us it all away from us is personality for me. And you have one of the coolest, best personalities. And if I was a child,
kids, remember that when you're 18.
If I was a primary school kid and I was listening and going to see Nick, it wouldn't just be to learn the guitar, but it'd be to have a tutor, to be around a nice energy. That's one thing that sort of keeps us unique and different as a teacher and a species at the minute.
You've got to be able to engage with people, and it's like, I find it really easy to engage with primary school kids because everything's fascinating and everything's cool, and it's like, all you've got to do is just, be a child with them. Obviously don't be a complete child, but
your product, which I say your product is you. I go into schools and I say, you're not watching somebody say, be a poet. I'm just saying, this is somebody that's got a passion. Try and imagine having a passion. Let's work on that.
Yeah.
Do you think your product of Nick would be taken away by not having face-to-face sessions as much, or or can you give that to the
I think I could. I think every now and again there would need to be some sort of face-to-face thing, like the odd online thing, just because we're still at that point where human connection is ridiculously important. But I'm confident that I could portray that across in a video, in theory. Because again, thankfully I've had a few years teaching experience now, so it's kind of just, you've got to visualize that the student is there.
Yeah.
So the way they work, the way they might not work, and then it's just, make it fun and entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always chucking in like stupid little jokes and things, like, I'm teaching quavers and I'm talking about crisps and things like that, and that's the sort of thing that kids engage with. So
So when you see one of your students just comes on so much, like you've give them a lesson, you've sent them away for a week, they come back and they've absolutely smashed it. I bet that's the best feeling.
It is incredible. There's a handful of them that are really, they're really going to go somewhere with it, and they're all different ages as well, which is really cool. There's like a couple of young ones in the primary school, and then there's a couple of teenage ones, and then even one of the adult ones. It's just really, they're taking it away, they're working on it, they're listening to what I say, they're making notes in the lesson and everything. It's just like, wow. So,
Nick, would you just press that red button on the... Is
that the red button?
We found the red button. For people that are listening to this, we are also filming it. It'll be on YouTube, but I have a DSLR camera that turns itself off. So Nick's just saved the day.
And it's back on?
It's back on, baby.
Yeah, I didn't knock it over this time. But yeah, seeing people excel is just amazing. Because it's like, I want to give people, like I say, music. because it's so important to me, and I think it's really important to have a creative outlet, and it's just nice to have something that you can just go to at any point in the day. Because if you play guitar or any instrument, if you're in a good mood, you pick it up, it's amazing. If you're in a bad mood, you can pick it up, it can still be amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's just therapeutic.
It's giving that emotion to the music, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whatever reflective state you're in, music will always be able to help you channel that, bring that out, and the best stuff can be produced in the worst states you're in or the best states you're in.
Definitely.
Music gives that. I don't think anything else does that as such. Like, suppose when I love sport so much, but if I'm in a bad mind state for sport, if I've not prepped right, I won't perform well.
Yeah.
This is only from personal experience, this is. But for me, like, I'll go to the gym, I'll play football, maybe sometimes in boxing it helps. But yeah, if I've not prepped myself for that, I just won't perform well, especially in a bad state. But when I'm really low and in a bad state and doing some music or lyrics or whatever that is, it just brings the best out of me still when I'm writing it down. And again, in the best state I'm in, I'll write stuff down. I'm like, this is what I want to say. So music seems to be that other.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, I do have the performance aspect. I've had bad gigs. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Everyone has
I just
want
to touch on that. Actually,
yeah.
Because it must be one thing we can really relate over as artists. Like, the best gigs are great, and you know how they feel. But the worst gigs are just soul destroying. Like, have you ever nearly been put off performing from a bad gig or anything like that?
Nothing that extreme.
No.
Thankfully.
Thank God.
But you know, I've had gigs where it's all just gone wrong. Like, you know, I've had technical failures. I've had, you know, guitar breakages, stuff like that. I forgot what I'm doing every now and again. This is a long time ago.
Yeah.
One of the last gigs I did where I thought it was terrible was about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago now. And me and the bass player, we both thought we were terrible. We were just all over the place. Don't know what had happened. We were just having an off day. And we were like, well, it wasn't the best, but we did it. People enjoyed it. It's okay. And we watched the video footage back, and it was like, I actually want that bad.
Yeah.
So you kind of, sometimes you get clouded. Like I say, if you're in a bad headspace before, like the smallest thing, you can really, it becomes impossible to get it out of your mind or something.
Yeah.
So, and now it's a case of, I haven't played a perfect gig in a long time.
Okay.
And that's because I know I am, due to life, I am behind on my practice. I'm not as up to speed as I was, you know, a couple of years ago, because I don't physically have the time anymore. I'm trying, but I can't remember. I've made a few clangers, basically, a couple of wrong chords here and there. But now I'm at the point where I'm that comfortable with it. If I make a mistake, I look at the rest of the band and I'm like, hey, I messed up. It's funny.
Yeah.
And then it's fine, because then people see you make a mistake. And although some people might want a polished performance, I think that if you see people make a mistake and then reminds them, you know, again, not egotistically or anything, but, you know, it reminds them that you're just another human being.
Yeah,
doing
human.
Anything can happen. So
I mean, it must be quite a nice state to be in with a band, though, because, you know, you make a mistake, somebody smiles at you, you get that affirmation, you're all like, oh, it's all right, we're in this together. As a solo artist, when you do it, the only person you've got is yourself.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
reflect to, so
you can't exactly look in a mirror and go,
no, you're an idiot. Oh, I'm an idiot. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, definite. So when you've had them perfect gigs, like when was that? Have you got an anecdote of like a gig where you just walked off and you're like, mic drop, I'm bad?
I mean, there's been quite a few. No, I think I'm going to pick this one, and there's a deep-hearted reason I need to talk about this one, and I think you'll understand it. It was the very first Maith Fest, and it was the Plasma Tiger debut.
Oh no, that
still
is
even
power.
Yeah, that was the first time. I think we played like 20 minutes or so. We did like 3 or 4 songs or something, like a couple of originals, and then a Disney medley. And we got on
I might have got up there with you at this.
I think you did. Everyone just went crazy for us.
It was incredible.
The 3 of us walked off stage. So shout out to Dathan Horridge and Alex Young, aka Shrewsick and Murdermouth, because that was an insane night. That was.
Wow.
Even to this day, I can still even now talking about it, I'm like, yeah, that was a gig.
I don't want to throw big bold statements out there or anything, but I sometimes think the tiger's going to rise at some point. And you know, we're all doing our things. You're the busiest guy ever, and maybe that was just a time in space. In
And
at some
at
point,
the time,
but-
it was perfect for everybody. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not
Man,
saying
that-
yes. I'm not gonna say no.
It's just
So,
how things
yeah.
go, man. You
Yeah.
know, you tried something, this happened, X, Y, and Z, but you know what you're doing now is just incredible. Anyway, like well, I've not been to see you perform this yet, but I've seen like a video. But Bruce
Springsteen, yeah,
just
yeah.
seems to be going so well.
It is. It's really
Tell
going
me
well.
about that.
It's we've now got like the good band basically,
Yeah.
because we started out, it was a one-off thing, and then we wanted to carry it on. It took us a while to get the right musicians in, so now we've got a good solid core of good, like not good, they're great musicians. They all know what they're doing. They know their instruments inside out. They've been playing for long enough, and we're just at a point now where we're at that comfortable level. Like me and the drummer Lauren, we're just at that level during rehearsals and gigs where it's like constant eye contact. We
Yeah.
know what's going on, and like we'll chuck in like a little bit of something in the middle of a song, like
Oh,
we
mate.
probably shouldn't do because we're a tribute band, but yeah. But yeah, it's a really good band. Hopefully it's gonna go further. I think our next gig is Belper Goes Green. We're playing
Awesome.
on the Sunday, so that's at the end of May. If I've got this right, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Hopefully this podcast is out before then. So, but if it comes out after, it was a good gig.
Yeah,
I hope.
Mate, if it's all right this time and we've got the cameras working, we've got this working, this is coming straight out.
But
No
yeah,
messing
I
anymore.
do love that band. But Sophie Sparham, amazing poet, amazing creative person. This is all her idea. She's the driving force behind it, and she has come along incredibly as a singer. She's not been doing it
100%.
that long. She's learned how to sing. She's learned how to be Bruce. She's got like a grade 1 in vocals now. She's pushing herself again. Somebody
another one
else
of them-
learning a new thing.
Another one of them attitudes where, you know, it might not be pitch perfect straight away, but then just the tenacity and the belief of just growing it. This is what I want to do. This is what I enjoy. I'm going to try my best at this moment in time, and I'm sure I get better. And that
Yeah.
belief and like no fear. I love that. Like
Yeah,
getting up on a stage and just being like, no, we're going to grow. We're going to get better. And that's something I've really noticed in you guys. It's like quite something I want to look at and go, that's what I need to be doing. I had a bit of a time out from stage performance and things like that for whatever reason. Went back home, did some stuff behind the scenes, but seeing people that are just like, no, I enjoy it, I want to be here and go do it, it's a beautiful thing to watch. Yeah, it's inspiring. So thank you for that. Thank you for
No,
being
it's cool, man.
the
Thank you for your
inspiring
kind
force.
words about it. Like, you know, I'll tell the band, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, man."
Yeah. Mikey says. Quite a few gigs lined up with these.
So we got a couple lined up. One in June, one in May, then I think October. So they're quite well spaced
Yeah.
out, but that gives us a lot of time to try and get a rehearsal in because everybody's a working musician. Everybody's in like 1,000 different bands.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's helping us work on the set a lot more. It's nice because we can turn up to rehearsals, and even if it's not the full band rehearsal, you know, it's very rare to get them. But everyone's at that point where you can trust that they're going to learn their bit and they're going to come to rehearsal and they're going to know their bit. And even if they don't know their bit 100%, they've listened to the song and everybody else is willing to help. You know, like, oh, it's not that chord there, or it's that structure we want to be doing.
And what
So-
was the moment it all come together? Sophie just had this idea, loved Bruce Springsteen, was a massive fan,
Yeah,
got in touch with you. Like, how did it grow? And were you a big Springsteen fan?
Springsteen.
Springsteen. I put it all
Springsteen.
together now.
Like-
You must have been a Spruceener. I imagine must be what his fans are called.
I imagine that.
Yeah. when slip ups work, were you a big Springsteen fan? Or
I wasn't like Sophie's the die-hard hardcore. You
Yeah.
know, Bruce till I die fan.
awesome.
And I knew his stuff like through my dad and through my uncle, but I wasn't as into it as I am now, because it was kind of one of them things that I got exposed to, and I liked a couple of albums, and it was really cool stuff. And I knew he did good live shows, but I didn't know his like back catalogue or anything like that. So since being obviously doing this, before we got the band together, doing all my research, reading up on it, and all the
Yeah.
band members and that, and I was like, this guy's just cool. Like, you
Yeah.
know, some of his lyrics are like quite really deep.
Oh mate, he was one
stories
of the
that are
greatest
telling you and
poets of all
stuff.
time.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's like-
genuinely. I go with a guy called Martin Illingworth to schools and other places, unis and lots of places.
Yeah.
And we'll look at Bruce Springsteen, one of his dialogues, not even one of his songs, but just a talk that he has on stage, and it's literally like the most beautiful piece of poetry, just talking to people. And imagine that, like thousands and thousands of people. He comes on and has this story built up, and he tells it pitch perfectly, and it's about him and his dad. He had an interesting relationship with his dad.
Yeah.
And they come on, and it's about him going to the army, and his dad's sort of saying, they'll go in the army and they'll make a man out of you. All he wanted to do was rock, but he had this long hair, and his dad, like one day when he had a bike accident, his dad cut all his hair really short, and he hated his dad for that, and they just built this not very nice relationship up. But then later on, at the end of the story, he goes for his medical and he fails for what I can't remember the reason. And his dad asks him when he comes back, like, how did you do? And the very end bit's like, yeah, I didn't get in. And his dad says, well, that's good. And he actually, like, he'd seen all these people going through terrible things, coming back, not the same people. And that love was always there. It's like, he tells that story and then performs this piece of music, and again.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's really powerful stuff. Just incredible sometimes.
Really...
And again, it really blew me away because, like, lyrically, I was fascinated by it. Just the words that he was using, the stories that he was telling, it was all really cool. And then musically, it ain't simple. Like,
really?
It's very hard to find simple Springsteen songs.
Okay, I expect it all to be like a really like normal chord formation.
It's
like...
really not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there's a couple of tracks that we do. Probably Thunder Road. That's my kryptonite in the band.
Really.
I'm not even gonna hide that anymore. I still like, if we do that at a gig, I am still at that point where I just need that little piece of paper.
Yeah.
With the chords on it in front of me, just because I've practiced it, but it's just one of them songs that I just can't quite get in there yet. And that's just because it's so well written. And it's, when you break it down, theoretically, it's like just basically an F, and it's like, okay, I understand that, but it's not what you think it's gonna be. And then like Born to Run and stuff like that, they're beautiful the way he's put them together. You can tell he's really thought about him.
How many songs do you have in your head or down that you perform of his?
I think we've got enough for, I think it's nearly 2 hours.
2 hour set?
Yeah, so the goal was to get 2 45-minute sets prepped
Awesome.
for Saturday night gigs. But I think we're getting to that point now where we're getting close to the 2 hour mark. So.
And respect to Sophie, because he's got a lot of lyrics in there that,
Yeah, exactly.
He writes so much.
There's trying to remember all that as
yeah,
well.
some people need to, like, know, One Direction, you've probably got about 15 lyrics to remember. Really.
Yeah,
There's
maybe.
a lot of repetition, but he's a storyteller. But I suppose that's a poetry that comes out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I just have such a respect for artists with this, like, play this, okay, yeah, straight, and then just pick it out of nowhere. How many songs do you reckon, could you put a number on how many are in your head that you could pull out?
Oh my gosh, no.
Because you've been in so many bands.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I've been playing guitar since since I was 12. So we've got to be pushing like 16 years of playing. So I don't know. I've been in loads of covers bands. We've done everything from like rock, pop to indie. I'm doing all the new stuff now. It's like all the Springsteen stuff. There's the acoustic covers I've done. There's obviously stuff I've learned for myself over the years. There's songs that I'm learning for teaching now.
Is there any stuff, like you say, you've not done, or you've done a little bit of, or anything like that you think, I really want to do that. That excites me the most.
What for guitar? It's probably
performance in general. Yeah,
probably just genre changes now. I'm getting really excited by jazz and classical guitar, because they're two things that I'm not.
Get in touch with Stingray and the J.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, man. I've seen them play. I'm like,
mate, I think that'd really work actually.
Yeah.
Have you been in touch with them in any form?
No, I've just seen what you've shared, man. So yeah, Stingray, if you're listening, man, like, come on, if you want to jam, hit me up, definitely, please. Please, I'm begging you.
Get you on a busking session as well, buddy.
Yeah.
100%. What do you think that'll come as? I'd love you to just do your instrumental, actually, but whatever you want to do, I really want to see it.
Well, I mean, if I was to come and do something here, I would love to do my instrumental stuff.
That'd be amazing.
Just me and my pedals and
I think this
Maybe a
bus
little bit
would
of
just be
cheeky
floating in
vocals, but-
space somewhere when
Yeah.
that happens.
But yeah, I'd be more than happy to do that. You know I would.
Fantastic. Well,
So-
Nick, could we hear another little piece from you, please? Because I know we've both got you got family to get to, everything like this. I've got a day to do, but I
You've
would
got a
love to
day
hear
to
something
do.
from you to give us a little jig out here.
I'm trying to think now. I'm really trying to think. Oh yeah, so
Come on. Yeah. Fucking out on the bus now. Doesn't matter how long you play,
yeah.
what you do, you get lost in that straight
yeah,
away,
I
man.
do.
It's
man.
beautiful
I
to
just a little
see.
jab in, so.
Nick, I've got a few things on my plate today.
Yeah,
I know
that's
you've
fine,
got
man.
a
I gotta
time
go off and
schedule that you
teach,
had to
so-
hit. So genuinely, I love you to pieces, man.
No, I
I
love
can't
you
wait
too,
to see
man.
more
Thank
of your
you so
journey.
much.
I'll see you on the Maith Fest pretty soon coming up.
Yeah,
And if
so
not then-
8th of May.
8th of May, we've
Woo!
got 8th of May is
Oh well, that's
book
the
launch,
book
and then
launch.
9th of May.
Yeah, 9th of May, Maith Fest.
If anybody's listening to this
Yeah,
long.
I don't know, man. Like at some point.
Well, we're listening back to this. But genuinely, back at the bus sessions with Nick McCann, the absolute all-star, beautiful man.
Bless you, man.
Thank
Thank
you
you very
for
much
being
for
here,
having me. Hope to see you again.
Beautiful. Now, and fresh.